A year ago, I left for a 6-month abroad trip to Christchurch, New Zealand. Little did I know, I was going to be changed by the end of this experience. When I first got on the plane, I could not help myself but be extremely excited. I'd done all my research, I knew exactly where I wanted to go, and everything was exciting. Everything was new, and when I got off that plane in Auckland, I was in total euphoria. I couldn't keep my eyes closed. Everything that I saw, it was just, it was all getting soaked in because like any new place that you go to, it's fun and it's exciting and, you can't see enough. Well, I had gotten there early before my study abroad orientation, and I had done so much exploring, and I was just there by myself, and I was in love. Now, like anything new, that newness sometimes starts to wear off after a little bit. So I got to Christchurch, which is where I was studying, and I kind of felt stuck and paralyzed because I had flown thousands of miles, and I was ready for this experience, but I just didn't know quite what to do with it. I wasn't quite ready to jump 2 feet in like I thought I was. You see, I'm from California, so going to school here in Pennsylvania was already a big trip. I'd been known to have been independent before, but this seemed a little bit different because, I still had all the support that I had at home with my family and my friends, but this was not just visiting, this was like living. So it was the real deal, and the reality kind of started to set in. So I was thinking about all of the things that I really wanted to do. And I was going, okay, well, I wanted to go skydiving, I wanted to go bungee jumping, I wanted to go to Queenstown, because all of these places were things that were really exciting. But I just couldn't get myself to go and do it. I was really scared, and I didn't realize that going there and making that my home for that 6 months was going to be that much of a change. So I was really petrified. I was terrified, not only of the fact that I didn't realize how much I needed the structure that I had here at school or at home, but I was also petrified of wasting this experience. You see, I had everything that I needed to have the experience of a lifetime right at my fingertips. And I was thinking about all of the people that had helped me get to where I was today. And, it's a big step to fly across the country to go to college, but it's an even bigger step to invest yourself into studying abroad and being immersed in a different culture. Now, New Zealand, it's an English-speaking country, so you don't think that it's going to be that different, but there are a lot of different things that are different. So when I thought about it, I thought about all of the things that everyone around me had done. And I thought, wow, I have my mom. My mom cried for like an hour before I left for New Zealand because she was telling me how proud she was of me for being able to do this when she couldn't. I thought about my friends who have wanted to study abroad but didn't quite have the courage to be able to go for a whole semester. I thought about my teammates who wanted to go with me, who really wanted to support me and wanted to hear about all of my experiences because they were happy for me. And then I thought about myself. Why was I studying abroad? Because this has been a dream that I've had since I was little. So thinking about all of this, I started to become a little stressed because I was just going over and over in my head that the reason that I was there, yes, was because I wanted to go, because it was a dream of mine, but because I felt obligated to meet the expectations of all those people who had supported me. And I didn't want to let those people down. So the way that I decided that I needed to handle this was I said, you know what? It's so easy to compare your experience to other people's experiences through social media, through people that have been to those places that you've been. And it's easy to say, wow, all these people had such an amazing experience. I don't want my experience to be anything less. I don't want my experience to not meet the expectations of everyone that I'm so grateful for to have helped me get this opportunity. So I started to think, and I said, okay, well, maybe I need to take smaller steps. Maybe I need to break this down. Because ultimately, what I realized was that this experience needed to be my own. I needed to make it my experience, not anybody else's. And I remembered something that my mom used to tell me. She used to tell me that I needed to take life one step at a time. So I was like, that's kind of an interesting concept. I like to run, so it's a little funny. Take one step at a time, that means go slow. But there's a lot of value in that. And the other thing I realized was that when I'm unconfident, I look down at my feet. It's just, even though it is a sign of a lack of confidence, it kind of helps me get through the hard times because I don't necessarily have to face the world in front of me. I can kind of just focus on where I am in this moment and work from there. So, in order to help myself become a little bit more open to exploring and to making my own experiences, I came up with a little bit of a philosophy that would help remind me of where I was going and what I wanted to do. So I called that mentality a feet-first mentality. So, no, I do not have a foot fetish. A lot of people thought that I did, but I did not, and still do not. But what I did is, everywhere that I went in New Zealand, I would take pictures of my feet. And it sounds a little funny, but for me, to be able to look back and see all of the places that I had gone was a really cool experience, because while you're doing it, you might not think that you're doing that much, but you're actually encoding a lot more memories than you think. So I kind of was able to recreate my journey through these series of pictures that I took. So not everyone is always as adventurous or is confident enough to study abroad, but this kind of mentality can be seen and used throughout your life. If you're ever scared or anxious like I was about studying abroad, that's okay. But you can take steps to make that experience your own and to do what you're comfortable with. That doesn't mean you're not taking a risk. Just because you see other people doing things that you think are greater or better, everyone has their own way of doing things, their own speed, their own tempo. And part of this is accepting that. So as I went through this journey, I kind of came to this conclusion, and I ended up having a really, really great time. I was able to combat a lot of those fears that I had, a lot of those anxieties about maybe not traveling the entire New Zealand, but really getting to know what was important to me and what I valued. So the next time that you are nervous or anxious about something, it's okay. Look down at your feet and take that first step, because that first step is always the hardest. But once you get going, things are a lot easier. And you'll never really realize how far you've gone until you pick your head up and you've seen how far you've gone. And it is going to be an amazing experience. So, thank you very much for listening to my TED Talk.